Hello, and welcome to the Shadowcast, the podcast discussing all things hidden in the shadows. I am the Living Shadow, and we are going to get started today with a new type of episode. So, hang on 1 second while I start the podcast recording. Get your drinks, get your water, get your cup. This one may be a little bit funny. This one may be a little bit rude. We're going to see. I got to get both kinds of drinks over here. Okay. Hello, and welcome to the Shadowcast, the podcast discussing all things hidden in the shadows. I am the Living Shadow, and we are going to get started today. So today's episode is going to be on customer service. So for those who don't know, I have worked customer service for I consider it a very long time. I've seen a lot of freaking people, okay? It may not be long to y'all, because I've come to notice that people think like working somewhere a long time is like 30, 40 years. To me, that's like an eternity. I couldn't do that. I probably would end up like hurting somebody. I'm being so honest. Like, I can't. So I'm gonna start off this by really, I want to talk about the mental effects of customer service, this customer is always right mentality, and how that has like ruined people, ruined me at least. As far as for, I'm an empathetic person. I still am empathetic, but I've become so, I personally will admit I have become a person that has very, very turned off to empathy, or I've been used for empathy for too long as a person. I've become very indifferent. They say the opposite of hate is not love, it's indifference, right? I've become very, very indifferent to a lot of people, a lot of situations, and it's become a lot of like, okay, well, go fix it then. You know, don't be trying to come to me for the guilt trip of all that kind of stuff. And why? Because I've worked customer service. I've dealt with the Karens in real life. They weren't Karens back when I was dealing with them, things like that. And again, back then it wasn't a popular thing to, and we couldn't even have our phones to film these people or anything like that when I was at the job. Excuse me. Various different jobs, they would be mad if you had your phones and everything like that. So, like, dealing with those people made me not care about a lot of things, So, I had an episode of this podcast where I talked before about detachment, about being detached. And I mentioned how going through a lot of the customer service I went through is what detached me. And this is what I'm going to basically discuss all these different jobs and different things I've done. For those who care or not care about my resume, this is basically my resume, okay? Now, not every single job I've worked at was customer service. Again, I could not take customer service for every single thing I did. So a lot of things were also back end. I've done about half and half of like back end behind the scenes work for things, and customer service in the front line for other things. So here goes my resume. If you want to skip past this part, I understand, but this is good context to know, where I'm coming from for this. So 2009, I was in high school. I worked at Renfest for my robotics team. Renaissance Festival, I was one of the people who were the hawkers. I had to yell to get people to, come in. They wanted me to be out there. And this is the thing I can't stand also, is that working these jobs, the majority of the jobs I've worked, especially if they have a position to put me in front of people, they chose to put me in front of people. For whatever reason, they think I have like the good bedside manner, or whatever you want to call it, for customer service, like good customer manner or whatever. Instead of teaching other people who may not have been strong in the area and putting them in the area, they kept putting the same people who they deemed were strong in the area over and over again until they no longer became strong in the area, until they got cracked their wits in. When I get to some of these other jobs here, that was the first one. That was 2009. I was still in high school. Okay, so that was like, as a high school kid, I'm like, okay, why I still got to be in front of people in high school? I was yelling and hawking and whatever, selling and moving money and this is that, but it still was like, whatever. That one wasn't so bad, but that's when you get the Renfest people. People were drunk. They were kind of cool. They weren't so horrible. Again, I was young and naive. As I got older and seen more and more people, it was a bit crazier. Okay. Next job, out of high school, I went down to Georgia to go move to college. I worked at Six Flags for the summer. Six Flags in college, Six Flags over Georgia. That's when I really started to see how crazy people were and how contradictory they were about what they want. Like, that's when I started seeing Karens. The heat down there brought them Karens, I guess. I don't know. They weren't Karens back in 2013 for me. That was, how many years ago is that now? 8 years? 8 years ago, technically. Yes. Not 8, 9 years. So, at that Six Flags, I was doing concessions. The popcorn people, the, drink people, pretzels, all that kind of stuff. Again, concession stand work. I would have loved to be like a ride operator or something, or, whatever. They had concessions. I did that, $7.25 an hour. I was that person working $7.25 an hour. Also want to mention that at the Renfest in 2009, when I was a high school person, I didn't get paid for that. That went toward my trip to go for robotics. We had our trips to go to the different tournaments and out of state. That money went straight to that, so I didn't even get any of the money for that. So I mean, I count it as a job because I worked. I feel like it was a job for me. But at Six Flags, I actually got my own paycheck or whatever. I worked $7.25 an hour. 40. I don't think I worked 40 hours a week. I think it was. I worked more than that because I usually work. Most people there work 7 days a week. I worked about 5 or 6 days a week. I know there was one dude who was there like a couple years. He was there he would go 3 weeks straight without getting a day off. Open to close. Now, if you know Six Flags, we worked open to close. There was no in the middle. There was no half day shift. If you were there the whole day. So if they scheduled you in the morning, you were there the whole day. If they scheduled you in the afternoon, you came in the afternoon, then you were there for the rest of the day. There was no there was nobody who went there who did not close. Basically, you may not have opened, but you always closed. $7.25 an hour. I'm telling you, that was hell. Okay, dealing with those people, dealing with those managers. The managers and the managers were worse than the customers, to be honest. And this is where I'm trying to get to with this, is that through a lot of these, I got to understand that how the managers are trying to keep the public policy or whatever company policy going is, instead of trying to fight back against the company policy and, try to fight for the employees, they would always just bow down and try to fight the employees to just follow in line. I'm like, okay, so we ain't robots. You should just hire robots to do this. Why is this food not just in vending machines somewhere? If you want concession stands to be like this, just go get a vending machine. They have some sort of robots that do this, popcorn filling robots or whatever. I hate to say, take jobs away from the people, but if you're going to treat people like they're trash, then they don't want the job anyway. And just, whatever. I did food delivery for food people in 2014. That was also when I was in Atlanta doing food delivery from different restaurants. Basically, it's like the modern day DoorDash. It was they ordered through Grubhub or whatever else they ordered through. I just delivered the food from the restaurants, okay? And I was over here in Atlanta, in Buckhead. I felt all fancy because I was delivering to the big mansions and stuff sometimes. I delivered to some people who had money, and I got some good tips sometimes when I got tips. But it was fun. The one time when I had to deliver this food to this one lady who had to pay for it, and she handed me her black card. Now, mind you, it's the first time I ever seen a black card in my whole life. Okay, first time I ever seen a black card. It was pure black card. And it was heavy, the titanium heavy black card. Okay? Not like I know Cash App has a black card now, but this had nothing on it. It's you know what I'm saying? This is back in the day, okay? She was the fancy black card. Get this food to her in this hotel room she was in or whatever. Right? Now, I didn't deal with too many rude people during that because I wasn't face to face with people for doing that. But just the context that I've done food delivery. Now, mind you, throughout all this, when Uber was available, I did Uber. I've done Postmates. I've also delivered food for DoorDash too. All recently up all up until 2020. So during 2020, that's how Postmates is basically what saved me in 2020, to be honest. But that so it's no stranger to doing those types of things. When my granny died, my mother had a stroke. My granny died back in 2015, at the end of 2015. So I had to come back up from Georgia, come back up to Michigan, and then I worked at the Wendy's from 2016 to 2017. Now, this is when the shit really got different, because throughout, when I list all these jobs, I'm just gonna list them out real fast. And the majority of them, I worked more than one job at a time. Okay, I worked 2 or 3 jobs at a time generally. So when I list these names, these names of these companies and these dates, it's gonna maybe sound weird. What? You just said this and this. You worked all these jobs since you yes, I worked all these jobs primarily because most of them were overlapping. I would work one during the day, one at night, or one a couple days throughout the week, one the other couple days throughout the week. So it may sound confusing. I know, if I go apply for jobs, they usually how did you, they'd be well, you don't stay somewhere very long. I'm no, I get bored or I don't get a raise, because they ain't paying enough. I need to look for something that pays me more. That generally is what happens. That $7.25 from Six Flags definitely weren't fucking doing it, Wendy's, I worked from Wendy's from 2016 to 2017, or into 2017. Chili's, 2017, 2018. Advantage Solutions, which is marketing, which is the samples that we give out. If you've seen Sam samples, it will be that. But this was at a Meyer, 2016, 2017. McDonald's, 2017 to 2018. Stillwater, which is a restaurant. I worked as a dishwasher there, 2018. Ellis Parking, which I was a parking assistant, 2018 to 2019. Maximus during the insurance, 2018 2019. This was customer service for insurance for Medicaid, as opposed to selling insurance. I do have that later on though. Advantage, again, I went back to Advantage in 2019. Worked there. This time was at a Walmart. Bankers Life for life insurance, 2019. Regis for inventory. I did inventory for different stores, 2019. Crossmark, which again is food samples. This was the one that actually at Sam's. Most people know about Sam's Club samples. That's what Crossmark was doing, 2019 to 2020. Evolve Telesales, which is phone sales when people call in from the infomercials, 2019 to 2020. American Income Life Insurance, 2019 to 2020. Qualifon Dialogue Direct, which is, again, people calling me for Medicare insurance, 2020. And I did United Healthcare for health insurance that same way for 2020. And now my own business, Lemon Shell LLC, for 2021 and onward. So if you listen to pretty much all of those, except for the ones I specifically mentioned, well, actually, Chili's, I was not in the front. I was the prep cook at Chili's. I was in the back at Chili's. Chili's, Stillwater, and Regis were the only ones. Those 3 were the only ones where I was not consumer facing at all, or customer facing at all. Now, depending on the nature of the job, they were different things, but for the most part, Wendy's and McDonald's, I can tell you so many different stories about these jackasses in the fucking drive-thru window. I can tell you so many stories about people just being stupid. Just being stupid. This is one lady who went to McDonald's. I was in the drive-thru. We had a long line. And here she goes talking about I want a chicken sandwich. I said, okay, ma'am. Well, we have about 6 different chicken sandwiches. So, which chicken sandwich you want? She's like, well, just give me a chicken sandwich. I said, okay, ma'am, I don't have a problem giving you a chicken sandwich. But which chicken sandwich you want? There's ones that go from $1 to one that goes to $10. So McDonald's ain't just got one chicken sandwich. They got a whole bunch of chicken sandwiches, okay? She goes, well, I just want the chicken sandwich. Just give me that Filet-O-Fish. I said, huh? You want the Filet-O-Fish chicken sandwich? She called herself, because she was being all rude and nasty, and she called herself like, oh, geez. I was like, yeah. You probably should think about it. You just like yelling at people and randomly drive-through lady. But she got whatever. I don't know if she ended up getting that fish sandwich or not. I don't even remember no more. That was so long ago. Like, to me, this is long ago, you know? I know most people will work these jobs, like the Wendy's from 2016, right? I know people who still work there. To me, that's like forever ago. That was 5 years ago. That was like, whoa, how can you be there for that long? I would have lost, I was losing my mind anyway, like, especially trying to work, because I close a lot of the times. So, you know, let's say the freaks come out at night, right? Like, the people who will come to this drive-thru just saying stupid shit, trying to be jokey, trying to be funny, whatever, are stressful. And the thing about it that makes it so, Mercury, what are you doing? Sorry, my cat, y'all. He decided to climb through the blinds. Don't know why. He never did the whole day. Now I'm recording. He want to climb through the blinds. Anyway. So, what I'm saying was that these people were like taxing on me, right? This one dude came in. He was mad. He wanted a hamburger. I asked him if he wanted cheese on the hamburger, because, you know, you deal with so many different types of people, and these people expect you to just know whatever they got going on. He threw a whole fit. He started yelling. He's like, how dare you, you stupid ass, dumbass motherfucker. If I wanted cheese, I would have told you I wanted fucking cheese on my motherfucking sandwich. I'm like, whoa, okay, sir. So, that was a black man now, mind you. I don't want to, you know, whatever. That one went to Karen. No, he had some Karen-icity, but that was a black dude. Okay. Look, if you watch the video of the podcast, it's a Shadowcast podcast on YouTube. I'm trying to put it should be The Living Shadow on Facebook. I'm going to put the video on Facebook too. I'm black, so I'm telling you. I know a lot of people will be like, especially in these businesses, they are afraid of black people because black people will like tell them about themselves. And Lord knows, I told some of these workers about themselves a couple times because I wasn't about to have none of the bullshit. So I'm just okay. But my point being is that working these different things, these people come at you all types of sideways and expect you to know. So I was like, okay, I just walked away and I was like, you know what, y'all managers, y'all deal with this person. And he was like, I don't know. And he was like trying to explain himself like, well, he asked me if I wanted cheese on my sandwich. It's like, yeah, that's what people do. We asked if you want cheese on your sandwich. That's not, why'd you get pissed? And the guy could not explain why he got pissed. Like, because I said I wanted a hamburger. And you know how many people, you know how many old grannies be up there, be wanting a hamburger, and he asks for cheese, and they go, oh, yes, the cheese, because they be begging for you to ask them. Like, it's like, different customers have different things, you know, but it's so taxing to know that. Like, one thing I have to find out, like, is people love when you're petty, too, especially with food. People love when you're petty. Like, if someone wants, like, extra tartar sauce in a fish sandwich, put like a mountain of tartar sauce on it. They're like, oh my God, it's the best sandwich ever. I'm like, I was being petty for your bitch ass, but you loved it. You pissed me off. I was being petty, but they ended up loving that sandwich. So, like, literally, I've had somebody do that, and they come back every time they wanted me to make their sandwich because I was that petty to them. And they were like, oh, I loved it that way. Like, I wanted all the extra on there, just like that. I was like, oh, well, bitch, I was being petty for your ass. But what would happen is that it would be like that, right? Or I would say something snappy, may not be too bad, but at a certain point, like I couldn't just be a weenie for it, right? Because people would just come at you all types of ways, all types of sideways. I just couldn't be a weenie about it. Don't rush me. Don't rush me if you want your food done right. This lady I was at McDonald's, she wanted a well done burger, so I put it on the grill. I left it on there a little bit longer to get it, heated, well done. Man, she's like, where's that well done burger? I'm like, it's still well done. And she said, well done. You wanted it well done or you want it halfway done? Because if the lady wanted it well done, I'm going to cook the meat. So I'm going to sit around here and wait. And like, don't be trying to rush me now if you wanted to wait. And the lady was like over here like, oh, yay, thank you. I was like, See, now the customer like it. You just want to be a bitch-ass manager, want to take to them, just want to get the line number, want to get all these optics and things like that, you know? And then we get to, like, Advantage, right? Mind you, that was like drive-through life, right? And again, I hated drive-through life because drive-through especially was the worst for me, dealing with these different people who had these different things to say, especially when I was at Wendy's, more than anything, because at Wendy's I was not, if you guys look at me now, I look like I presented, if you watch the video, I look like I'm more masculine presenting. I was not as masculine presenting at the Wendy's drive-through, simply because I just always presented like whatever I was feeling. You know, if I was feeling more feminine, I would present more feminine. If I was feeling more, I just go along with what I felt. A lot of people make their judgments, whatever, and you can feel them. You can hear their silent judgment. You can hear the undertones. You can hear a whole bunch of different things when you're in this drive-through, and it pissed me off the most. I'm like, okay, so why would y'all put me in here knowing that? And they just like seem like they just want to be, oh, well, you can handle it. Like, no, I can't. And then they want to be mad, like, why are you so angry? Because you put me in this goddamn drive-through with these motherfucking idiot-ass people. This lady came through on voting day, asking, does a junior bacon cheeseburger have cheese on it? Does a cheeseburger have cheese on it? Yes, the hell it does, lady. Why the hell is you asking me this? You must have voted for Trump. And it's so many. I can't even remember all these different stories of things that happened because there's so many of them. Now, mind you, I had some busy drive-thrus. It wasn't like we were boring and busy and didn't have nothing going on, you know. But again, these are just a couple of stories that stuck out to me because of just how the idiocracy of it all. And I would keep saying, so at the time I was like, you know, while we're working here, it's like the longer, it seemed like the longer I was in that window, the longer I was doing the drive-thru, the stupider those people got. It really seemed like the intelligence was like slowly sleeping away from the human consciousness. Like it was just like, whoa, these people were not intelligent at all. Like these people did not read a book or anything. Like it was really crazy. Now, mind you, Chili's, I worked in the back. So in the back for Chili's, I wasn't as much customer service. So I may have to talk about that in a different podcast because I do want to get to the manager effects and the customer effects on my mental health and other people's mental health as well. Maximus was another big customer service job where I did customer service over the phone. Now, even if you thought the people were stupid in the drive-thru, they're even worse over the phone because they're in your house or wherever else they're doing, and they just really feel emboldened. The same way, kind of like people feel emboldened on the internet to say whatever they want to say, hiding behind the screen. You know, people would just say some random-ass foul-ass shit, especially over the phone. Like, this one person told me they didn't want to speak to me because I sounded too white. Like, oh, you sound white. I need to speak to a black person. I said, well, I am black. They go, oh, really? I said, yeah. Well, I don't know. This one lady called. She said, hello? I said, you know, well, I can't remember what we used to say anymore. Like, well, thank you for calling the Medicare helpline, Medicaid helpline, whatever it was. And she's like, well, I need to speak to an old white lady. You got an old white lady there? I said, well, yeah, we got old white ladies that work here. There's a lot of old white ladies here. I don't know. I can't transfer you to an old white lady. Now you have to call till you get an old white lady. Now I can't. There's no old white lady button. I ain't got no old white lady button. And she talking about something. Well, I just, you know, I'm an old white lady. I'm like, yeah, I hear it. I hear you. And she's like, I'm an old white lady. And I just want to talk to another old white lady so they can understand where I'm coming from. I said, you know what? I get that because I be wanting to call places. I want to talk to a black person too. So I understand that. Because some of these white people do not know where I'm coming from either. So if I had an old white lady button, I would hit it for you. You can get the old white lady button. But the best I can tell you is call back until you get an old white lady. Or someone that sounds like an old white lady. I don't know if you can tell or not over the phone. We got a couple of them that work here. Ain't no old white lady button. None of our managers are old white ladies either, so I can't put you on the lead, call the lead line and get an old white lady either. So you just have to call back till you get an old white lady. That was so funny to me. But like, my point being, there will be so many different ways where these people will come at you with some off the wall shit. And you have to be calm about it, you know, for the sake of your job. Sometimes people come at you with some crazy shit. This one dude told me that he he hated me because I was a Democrat. Okay. I don't even know for why. And now the cats are going all over the place. Anyway. How did I even, he answered, I answered the phone. This was at Evolve, or excuse me, not Evolve. This was at the Qualcomm for the Medicare. This one, I answered the phone, trying to get him. He's calling about Medicare insurance. I answered the phone. He's talking about I told him, he said, what state are you from? I said, well, I'm in Michigan. Why do you need to know? Like, what you trying to do, sir? I don't know these people over this phone. Like, he had some yackos and wackos. He's like, are you a Democrat? I go, well, technically, yes, I guess. I'm more left-leaning than right-leaning, I'll tell you that. He was like, I can't talk to these Democrats, so I got to hang up the phone. Bye. I'm a Republican. I've been a Republican all my life. I ain't trying to talk to nobody. Like, okay, well, bye then, sir. You ain't getting no insurance. Now, what my point being is that these off-wall people, right? Some of these managers, they will come tell you, oh, that's just part of the job. Suck it up, right? Which is like, no, like some of these people say some off-the-wall shit. Now, mind you, these examples I gave were not too bad as opposed to some of them, but some of them were so bad, I had to forget them as a trauma response because I just really could not. I tell you, there were so many like racist things. So many people came at me again, especially when I was at Wendy's, because I was not more masculine presenting. And this cat, I don't know why he wants to get underneath these blinds right now. When I was not most masculine presenting, just trying to like say all these different kind of things. I've never been a closeted person, y'all. So I've never been like afraid to wear stuff, but these people have opinions and they just come out with them. Sometimes, especially old people. Old people just say things. So when they just start saying stuff, and it's like, I go tell the manager sometimes what they said, and they're like, be kind of nice, nasty with it. That's the best response I've gotten, is be a little nice, nasty with your reply. Like, don't sit there and take everything they say without saying, like, you can be a little snippy back, but don't be so bad where you had, like, they got to call corporate or whatever. Mercury! No more blinds. Dang on cat. Anyway, this is like the fourth time he's about to go underneath those same blinds that come back from underneath there. I don't know what his problem is. Sorry, y'all. So anyway, as I was saying, going through all that stuff, it's soul crushing. It's soul crushing, especially when you don't have help from the people who are the people who are in charge. Are like, yeah, this is what happens, like, just keep going. Or like, yeah, people are rude. I'm like, okay, so if I'm telling you every day a different story, especially about me being in this window, about how people were rude and nasty to me specifically, they go, well, yes, it's part of the job. Like, okay, so you don't want to swap out somebody else for this window? You don't want to take the time to teach somebody else to work this? I will teach somebody my dang own self to work this window, so I don't have to be in it, because I don't want to do it. I'd rather just sit there and do the fries or something. Like, I begged at McDonald's, because when I worked at McDonald's, I was working maximum throughout the day, 8 hours a day on the phone. Then at night, I would go to McDonald's. They would put me in this window. I said, oh, hell no. I said, look, I talked to every single manager that whole week. I said, look, I need to be in the grill. And they said, oh, why? We got you trained for the window. I'm like, because that's 12 hours of customers. 12 hours of idiot motherfucking people talking to me about some motherfucking bullshit that I don't want to hear. Put me in this grill so at least I have some sort of break. I don't want to hear these people all day, all night. I will snap on somebody. Just people and anybody who has worked customer service, that people just come and do stupid shit. Like when I was in Advantage doing even the food samples, right? People would try and touch everything. Trying to keep a sanitized cart, especially for food, was so rough. People want to just come and touch everything. Why can't I just touch it all? Why can't I dip my finger in your guacamole? Why can't I stand here and drool over your fish? Like, sir, this is rude. It's rude as hell and nasty. This is why we got this COVID the way it is right now. These people just rude and nasty. Nasty. Just germy and everything. Yeah. But it affected my health because it made you not able to really defend yourself or say what you want to say because it stifled your voice. It stifled my voice. It stifled my voice for the sake of, okay, so if I really tell this person off or tell this person how I really feel, I really might lose my job. But these people can come and say whatever the fuck they want to me any old type of way. And I'm supposed to just take it and accept it. And that, to me, is just wrong. Okay? And I've said this so many different times and so many different people. And like I said, they came with the be a little nice nasty. Like you can say something back a little bit, but if they really start coming for you, you can say something back a little bit. But I'm like, what's a little bit? Please define me what a little bit is. Because some of these people come after me, like that dude with that slice of cheese came after me, all types of crazy. All types of crazy. And that's not the first occurrence, but that was like the stupidest one I feel like, I asked him about a piece of cheese. This one dude was yelling at me, cussing me up and down because his brother died. And he got marked, and this was when I was doing the insurance. His brother died. And he got marked with his brother's death. Right? His brother died, and they mistakenly said that he had died. So he was cussing at me like I did. I said, well, sir, I wasn't even involved. This is the first time I ever knew this would even happen. You calling me. He's cussing me up and down. Like, I get it. It wasn't my fault personally, but you taking out your frustrations on me is not cool either. I get, like, if you need to find someone to take your frustrations out on, I can give you some numbers to call the people, call your representatives, call these other people who call people who are higher up than I am, who getting paid way more money than I am, and take it out with them, And what I've also found out is that with the management too, a lot of the management people try to make you, mold you in some kind of way. So, again, at this qualifying, right, when I was doing the Medicare insurance sales, people would call, this was probably the worst one for this. I had to take a whole year off. Okay, I have not been able to do stuff because that was just taxing on my brain in general. These people would call, like this one dude would call. He told me his wife died. Now, mind you, we were selling healthcare insurance. Medicare plans. He called and told me his wife died. I said, okay, sir. Well, I'm sorry, but are you trying to get some Medicare insurance? I can help you get some Medicare insurance. My boss comes on the call. So I was like, why aren't you being more empathetic to him? I was like, what do you mean? I said I was sorry his wife died. She goes, but you don't have, it doesn't sound like you have any, you don't feel, it doesn't sound like you feel sorry. I'm like, no, I don't know him, nor his wife, nor do I understand why he's calling me on his Medicare health line to tell me his wife died. If I was selling life insurance, I could understand that, but we're doing health insurance. She ain't got no health. She's dead. She's like, I just can't believe you're just so unempathetic to these people. I said, because these people are just looking for it to drain you. Just for you to feel sorry for them. You know how many jobs I've worked with somebody who called me to feel sorry for them? Oh, feel sorry for me. Feel sorry for me. Feel bad for me. My wife died. Yes, sir, your wife died. And I do feel bad. How long ago did she die? Like 5 years ago. Okay, so you calling me on this number after she died 5 years ago. Clearly, you just want someone to feel sympathy for you. But you don't have your family to call. You know what I'm saying? But, and like, as we kept going with these calls, and my boss at that particular job, my manager at that particular job, I think she started to see what I was talking about. Because she was the type of person who would wants you to be so doting over everybody, right? This is what I'm saying. I became indifferent because they try to drain you. These customers try to drain you, and managers try to get you to just go give everything to these people. Now, mind you, at that dialogue direct, that qualifying, I was working 12 hours a day. They had mandatory overtime. You had mandatory work 60 hours a week. They didn't even pay you for that, and now they have a lawsuit for that. I just got the letter in the mail about a lawsuit about them doing that. They weren't paying people properly because they mandatory had us work 60 hours a week. They did not pay us the overtime, a time and a half for that. They just paid us the regular amount. They didn't pay us a time and a half. Lord knows I can use that time and a half because pandemic. Hello. Okay. Sales jobs, doing life insurance, doing the telesales, doing all this kind of stuff where they basically want you to be like some sort of weenie, or they want you to be strong but a weenie at the same time, which is really, really weird. But I feel like I was more cut out for that, at least to be strong when I need to be strong and be a weenie when I need to be a weenie. But like, what my point, what I'm trying to say is that they stifle your voice by trying to tell you how to treat people who don't know how to treat you. So many times these people would say some things like this, or come up some off the wall type of stuff, and you're supposed to respond in a certain type of way, shape, form, or manner, right? You're supposed to try and respond in so many people, especially if you say something the customer doesn't like, the first thing they pop up with is, the customer's always right. I don't see how you can have a job like this. I'm like, because you come up here thinking that you always right, and you just not. Shut up, Karen. Like, you're just not right. Okay? Yes, a junior bacon cheeseburger has cheese on it. And if you are offended by me feeling like you're stupid for asking me if a cheeseburger has cheese on it, then I'm offended by your asking me this question and expecting me not to look at you like you're sideways, like look at you like you're crazy. You literally read the word cheeseburger. Why would you think it does not have cheese on the burger if it's literally called that? Why would you call a health insurance line for someone who has already been deceased? How am I going to help them with that? And she's like, maybe he needs somebody to talk to. I said, now, wait a minute now. This is my boss. She goes, maybe he needs somebody to talk to. I said, now, wait a minute. Now, if I talk to that person for however long he needs to talk, grieve about his wife, the next thing you'd be telling me is that you're on the phone too long without trying to sell nobody insurance. I said, well, we ain't talking. She's like, well, why is he not buying insurance? I said, because we're not talking about him. We're talking about his dead wife. You can't get insurance for his dead wife. That'll be the very next thing you would say is, why am I not selling him on something? Because some of these people will call and they would just talk, just to talk. Now, mind you, I know some of these people will call on these different phone lines. Doing these different phone lines for a couple of years, they would call just to talk about their life or whatever. They didn't have anybody to talk to vent to. I get that. But again, that's why you need to go seek somebody actually whose job it is to listen to you speak about whatever subject you're talking about. If my job is to sell you Medicare insurance, or to get you signed up with a Medicare, a Medicare insurance, if my job is to sell you Medicare insurance, or get you signed up for a Medicaid health plan, because I've done both, Medicare and Medicaid, which is confusing enough as it is, but this health insurance life, I'm trying to tell you, I may have to do another podcast about how crazy and jacked up the health insurance is in America, because it's nuts. But if you're trying to talk to me about this stuff, or trying to talk to me about like your grandkid Jeff over there, who didn't learn how to ride the big wheel until he was 3 years old, and I'm trying to talk to you about some insurance, I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? I don't see how that adds up. Now, mind you, half the time I would get contacted back talking about from my manager or whatever, like, well, why were you talking to this person for this long about nothing? And it's like, because they wanted to talk. Well, you ain't supposed to be talking to them. You're supposed to direct the conversation. Say, okay, so I'm trying to direct the conversation, but I can't. The only way I direct the conversation with some of those people were just to be blatantly rude to them. Just blatantly rude. Like, sir, I get it. Your son, your grandson, or whatever got on the big wheel, but we talking about insurance. Well, I don't see, and they would get so offended. But they called the number for this whole other thing and started talking about something else. This lady, when I was working at the telesales, I was talking about a vacuum. She's talking about her great grandkid in Texas is somewhere, and I'm like, okay, so what's this got to do with the vacuum? You trying to buy a vacuum for them, or like not trying to be But it got to the point where I couldn't even hold it back no more. That's my point. It messed me up, so I couldn't even hold, like, a lot of people have suppressed rage because of the stupidity that comes with a lot of customer service jobs. If you work customer service, you have a lot of suppressed rage generally. I'm not saying everybody does, but I know most people, at least from where I've worked at, the companies I've worked at, the places I've worked at, if you have had customer service, you more than likely have had suppressed rage. Rage at these customers, rage at these people, rage at this society, rage at your pay wage because you weren't getting paid enough to deal with these fucking idiots that would call in or be you to drive through or whatever. And it would cause depression because you would be suppressing your anger. You're not able to let it out at work. You have to come home, probably let it out some kind of way. This is where a lot of these people have a whole bunch of like house problems or family problems or home issues because guess what? They couldn't let it out at work in real time as the abuse or as the people were interjecting and talking to them. They couldn't let it out in real time, so they had to let it out later on. So imagine, we see lots of times. I want to use, I guess, a stereotypical example so people can understand it more. But again, this happens whatever gender role it is for whoever it is. But say a man goes to work in customer service, deals with these people, and is trying to be the perfect perfect employee at work in the workplace, trying to get a raise, trying to climb the ladder, has to come home and show a whole different face at home because now they're at home, they don't have the pressure of, oh, okay, I have to be perfect Patrick, at work so I can, trying to get that raise, trying to get some more money, I can let it all out. Behind the scenes, people at work probably think it's the best thing ever. Like, oh, you do your job really well, blah, 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 blah. Comes back home, it may be his wife. Why? Because he has to try and be nice to some of those people, that he's working with. And at home, he gets to finally, be himself. Okay, sorry, y'all. The video stopped recording. I was saying something true. If there was some sort of balance in the middle of being able to say or do or act upon your feelings, at least to a civil degree in the workplace, then you would not have to deal with so many domestic violence at home or things like that at home, right? Now, if you are paying attention to another podcast I had on here called Narcissism, or if you looked at anything for psychological narcissistic abuse or narcissistic traits of people, they show one face in public and one face in private, right? Well, my point of this entire podcast episode is to say that so many times we are like the workforce that we have, capitalism, the workforce that we have had, these different company policies, different things like that, because we want to be so, I guess, nice to people, customers are always right, this is that, trying to make people feel so welcome, that we don't make the employees feel welcome. Employees are really, really do suffer either way it goes. Now some people who work customer service who come in as a customer, they usually can be really, really nice about it. Like they can understand this and that. But at the same time, if you see a lot of these same tactics or traits will come in where you have to show one thing, like you show this one side of yourself in public, or this one a mannerism or act in public and a different one behind the scenes, right? So people don't know who you are behind the scenes. Lots of times we see people, I didn't know this person was like this. I didn't know they would do those types of things. I didn't know this was this type of person, I didn't think they would ever do anything like that. And it comes to find out, the wife or kids at home are like, yeah, they're like this all the time. Like, I've had some people be like, I've seen some people be, well, they only have been like this since they started working there. Once they start working there, that's a whole different thing. My mother, for instance, she was a school teacher. When she worked at one of the schools here, she worked at in Flint. She worked at Whittier for several years. She was a nicer person. When she worked at the one right next to it, I can't remember the name. It started with a C though. Anyways, they had her in the basement down there. She was sick the entire time she was in that basement. She was depressed the entire time. The dust that got up in her, they literally had her in the basement, underneath the ground, teaching. like underground teacher, like really. And she was sick the entire time. It was an old radio station, and they turned it into like classrooms. She was sick the entire time, like the entire time, and she was not happy. She was just, did they take into account? Okay, so somebody is working in this space. What is their mental health like? Because she worked there for I think 3 or 4 years. After she left from up out of there and went to a different school, she went to Northern to teach. After she went there and she got like above ground and she was like in a proper classroom again, she did not have any health issues or any respiratory issues. She was sneezing and coughing and wheezing all this, like the whole time she was down there. My point being is that just because someone has a job, just because someone's making money, does not mean that they are getting the proper care, treatment, and attention that they need from that job, especially for an employee, and especially in the mental health space. Because while, yes, her physical, it got to her for her physical at that point, being down there. But a lot of times it will also get to physical, like suppressed anger. It turns to depression. That's a full thing. Why are people depressed? Well, they're not even getting paid enough to deal with the bullshit they're dealing with, It's like the whole point is that you go to work. At least my understanding was that the whole point of this workforce thing was that you go to work, you put up with what you got to put up with for your job to make some money, you come back home, and then, you're able to, unwind, detoxify yourself, whatever you got to do, meditate, Zen, yoga, whatever, to get, do that at home. The way these wages are, is again, y'all have already, if you listen to this podcast or have listened to this podcast, you already know I complain about wages being low all the time. And as you see, I worked 2 or 3 jobs. There was no wind down time for that. There was no wind down time to I gotta, let me sit here and just, and relax, release, meditate, all that kind of stuff, to get the toxicity off of me or get these energies from these other people up off of me. There was no time for that because I had to go back to work another job to try and pay for things like my rent. It wasn't like I was trying to buy anything fancy. I was trying to pay rent. I was trying to pay a car note. I was trying to pay car insurance. Those 3 things alone were over $1,300 for me every month. So it was not okay, so mind you, one of these jobs will pay you maybe $2,000 a month. And I used up my whole job for one job just to pay off the things I needed for my utilities, things like my rent, utilities, car notes, car insurance, and whatever else I would need to do. Life insurance when I start buying that, light bill, phone bill, they would go for bills. It wasn't like it was being used for fun, frivolous spending. You know what I'm saying? I had to get a second or third job to even try to be able to buy food, because food was not something that was even funded by my one job. I would have to get 2 jobs in order to buy food. And lots of times, because I worked in places restaurants, I would get food from the restaurants. That's the only way I would be able to eat, because I could not afford to buy food for myself. So what I'm saying is that if you don't feel like that's taxing on someone's mental health, that is the ultimate, my mental health was ruined from working. Working ruins you. I'm not going to say that, people don't need to work or anything like that, because I know there's been a whole debate about unemployment and jobs and stuff in the country. But what I'm trying to say is that, these things are not providing people with the lifestyle that they need. They're not providing people with a healthy lifestyle. Just because somebody works does not mean they have a healthy lifestyle. Or just because you're paying them anything does not mean you're paying them enough. The inflation has gone up, wages have not. You know how many times it's depressing to... I've known people, I've known a couple of people I was working with. They were nice people. They didn't see their husband or their wives or their significant other because they were both working 2 jobs to make it somewhere. They were both working, This is a real thing where they weren't even able to be intimate or things like that. People complain that these people today are not having kids. They weren't able to be intimate because they both had to work. And I know for a lot of people, at least, by the time you get done with all that kind of stuff, you don't want to deal with people. If you get done with customer service, after a long day of customer service, the last thing you want to do is see somebody or see somebody else. That's like, unless it's like, like something fun, or you're gonna have fun, you're gonna drink somewhere or whatever. Like, the majority of the time, by the time you get through working, you don't want to see these people. You don't want to see nobody. You don't want to deal with nobody. And that makes people a lot less social, which is also taxing on mental health, because people are supposed to be around other people in some way, shape, or form. We're not supposed to all just be secluded in little boxes and things. But it's hard. It's hard because there's so often people will abuse you in these jobs. They will abuse you. And customer service, I feel like is the majority field where you will get abused. Not only by the customers themselves, but also by the employers. Not necessarily other employees. Sometimes you will get abused by other employees, but by the employers who are keep pushing you out there and keep getting you to do more and more and more and more and more. Like I said, for that qualifying, which they're having a lawsuit for that now, mandatory 60 hours a week. 60 hours. Not 40, 60 hours a week. Mandatory overtime. Or excuse me, they had mandatory 60-hour work week. So, if you work these customer service jobs, or they find you're good at this, or you're decent at doing it, they love to milk you until you have nothing left. And then if you have nothing left, they complain that you used to be so, vibrant and happy to come to work. What happened? You made me come to work too damn much. You made me use up all the empathy I had for the day yesterday. My meter has run out. My meter ran out on Monday. It's Friday. Well, I don't see what the problem is. You gotta come back again on Monday. Like, exactly. And that 2 days was not enough to detox from, because I was already done on Monday for the whole week. You know what I mean? Like, and some people are like, well, maybe that was not your job profession. I was like, okay, not everybody in all these positions, and I don't care where you work at, everybody gets tired of dealing with bullshit. I don't care where you work at, who you work for, people get tired of bullshit. And customer service is full of bullshit. And that's just what it is, And I hate to say that, but if you're dealing with people, you can't predict how people are going to be. The only thing we can do is hope, wish, and pray that we can get different things going that will help educate people so they won't be so damn idiotic. But my point is that especially if you know your company, or you know your job, or you know that these different things are not this way, there's so many different mental health initiatives that are being taken. Again, at that last job, they was talking about they had a meditation room. They had a room for you to go meditate in, for you someone to go talk to. I am very adamant on having an on-call therapist or an on-call spiritual person to be at these jobs, or somebody who will help people when they're going through a rough time be able to take care of it. Like someone you can go sit in their office. Like, in school we had a guidance counselor. While when we go to work, we don't have a guidance counselor anymore. People still need guidance counselors at work. If you know what I'm saying, like, if you had someone to go to talk to when you were in school and you were being bullied at school, now you don't have someone to go talk to. You have a manager who probably is not well versed in that area. Like, I know it sounds silly, but people say, we never leave high school. So let's enact some of these things that are from high school that were needed, or that still are needed in the workforce today. I'm a big advocate of that. We need some sort of counselor in these different workplaces, especially if you work in the office space. Have an office room in there. People can go talk there if they need to go talk there. Or if you're on the phone, have them be able an on-call person or whatever you need. Like, if you need to take a break for that or whatever, I need to go take a break to go talk to this person so I can make it throughout the day without cussing somebody out. I don't feel that's a bad thing. That's a whole other job opportunity. How many of these companies don't have this? How many people need this job? That's a whole job opportunity for a whole bunch of people. And that would help a whole bunch of people's mental health at that. Because I'm telling you, they teach you how to be indifferent and then complain at you for being indifferent afterward. And that's the part that I can't take. I was taught how to be indifferent or to not care about people because I cared and cared and cared and cared and cared until I could no longer care no more. Or until I seen that, okay, so y'all want me to care about all these other people, yet who is caring about me? And it's like, that's just, but it's the truth of it all. Like, who's caring about me at the end of this day? After this man that cuts me out about this cheese, who's worried about me? Y'all just told me to get back to work. Shake it off. I can't shake that off. That man really was like, he yelled at me about a slice of cheese when I was trying to be nice. He went off on me. Like, off. I thought he was going to jump over the counter. I'm like, well, sir, if you wanted that cheese, if you didn't want the cheese that bad, then come make your own damn burger. Like, shit, we didn't even make it. Shit, I didn't make it with the cheese on there. I just asked you about when you ordered it. It wasn't like he got it with the cheese on there and was like, this is wrong. No, he was ordering it and I asked him if he wanted it on there. That's my point, okay? This is kind of long. I want y'all to understand the customer service is not the best thing ever. It's not the best field to be in. I definitely would not recommend anyone to be in it long term. I've been done, like as I said, most of these jobs, it's about 13 different jobs. 3 of them were not consumer facing. 10 of them were consumer facing, and if you're hearing these just a few stories of these people who I dealt with on a day-to-day basis. So it's very, very damaging to people's health and just well-being, especially if you feel like you can't say anything back or express yourself afterward for fear of losing your job and the only income you have, and for just a basic means of survival. It's survival mindset at its best. I do want to thank every single person who listens to this for listening to this. I'm going to get a self-care card to get some self-care in your life. Get some self-care. Just in general, understand that, I know there's a lot of places that, you work for, they may not care about you, but you have to care about you. Yes, sing is the number. It's coming out here for your self-care. Maybe you need to sing somewhere. Go home, sing. If you're in the car, sing along to the song. I don't know. But, just have the understanding that if you're not caring about you, you can't depend on these jobs, these professions to do so, especially if you're in customer service. You can't expect the customers to care about you, okay? Love yourself. Always and forever love yourself. And I don't mean abusing somebody else either. I just mean, take care of yourself and make sure that you're mentally okay, spiritually okay, not just physically okay. And, be blessed out there, everybody. This has been the Shadowcast with the Living Shadow. And, I hope to have you listen again. Bye. Alright, this has been the Shadowcast podcast on the YouTube. I want you all to know out there, we are the assassination. Bye.